advanced curvature wrap has more curves than the basic wrap. If you have not completed the basic curvature wrap, it's probably a good idea to complete that wrap first. The sectioning you'll see in the bottom corner of this video. It starts off with an angled section. If you remember in the basic curve wrap, the basic curvature wrap, we had a straight parting at the high side. Here we angle the parting, and that gives a little more of a curve. Once we've got the parting angled, we then create our second panel in the front, and we can see how that angle makes this second panel even curve more than in the basic curvature wrap. And then we start our back panel the same way, pretty much the same way, curving around behind the ear, but it does have a little bit more of a curve, and you can compare the two images. And then we do the same curving behind the ear, and then we have a small panel in the middle. And this small panel, you can see the curve that happens in that panel. And I've used a couple of perm picks just to secure those rods, because they were coming loose in the bottom just because the hair is short. I've wrapped this one all in the purple size rod, and I'm just going to wrap the front panels, and that's where most of the curve happens. There's curves throughout this entire perm wrap, and it's really nice once you practice both the basic curvature wrap and the advanced curvature wrap. It's really nice because you do get, you will see an improvement in all your perm wrapping. So we're just going to start right at the top here, and if you remember in the basic curvature wrap, we started just with horizontal sections. Now we're starting with diagonal sections, and we're going to pivot, and then we're going to pivot at the receding area, and that gives more of an advanced curve. So I'm just going to wrap, and I'm going to let you know when I'm doing a pivot. So please make sure that you do complete the advanced wrap after you've completed the basic wrap. So in here now, you can see I have a pie shaping, so I'm going to follow that pie shaping and create a subsection that is narrow at the apex, like at the front of the apex, and a little wider near the hairline. So right now my narrow sections are happening at the back of this front section, near the front part of the apex. Now I'm going to take another pie shape, and you can use any size rod, and you can also use the bookend wrap or the double flat wrap or the single. Make sure your ends are in there. And we could see this starting to turn slightly. I'll probably have one more that is just a little bit narrower in front of the apex and a little wider at the hairline. And that's going to make my final turn. And now I'm going to start to pivot when I put my comb horizontally, you can see I have a pie shaping now the opposite way. It's narrow at the front to wider at the back. So I'm going to start to pivot the opposite way to make a curve. So this is going to curve this way and then curve towards the face. So that's why this is the advanced curvature wrap, because it's just a little bit more curvy than the basic curvature wrap. But the basic curvature wrap is really good to start off following the curve of the head. And then when you move into this wrap, your job is just a little bit easier. You understand the curve a little bit better. And you do need to remember that you will have clients with different head shapes, and according to their head shape, the curve changes. So that's why it's so good to practice wrapping a couple of different ways and getting used to following the curve. So I'm still taking wide to narrow sections. And now I should be able to just go horizontal on my last two. But you can see how this has followed the curve of the head. And there is our last rod, which should sit horizontal when we're done. Okay, so you can see that curve, and the curve has a lot of movement to it. We can see how it pivots this way, and then it pivots in the second direction. So now once we're done that, we are ready to move on to the opposite side, and this is our smaller side. And again, we have to follow the curve. So we're going to be starting out with some horizontal sections, and then we're going to be pivoting. Actually, we're going to start out on a bit of a diagonal line here. Diagonal line, and then we're going to pivot in the receding area to bring us around to a horizontal section. So now you can see I need to start to pivot. We see that pie shaping there. another pie shaping, and after that my rod should be horizontal and my subsection should be horizontal. You can continue to take pie shapings here if you would like to add even more curve. To your section. There we have our last curve. So this is the advanced curvature wrap. And we can see the curve happening there. Remember, try the advanced curvature wrap after you have tried the basic curvature wrap.